$50,000 buy-in horse tournament at the World Series of Poker is widely considered to be the Players' Championship. The tournament began earlier today, and if past years are any indication, it's going to be a field full of top professionals. The first time the $50,000 buy-in horse event was held was in 2006. It attracted 143 players and built a total prize pool of about $6.8 million. That event was taken down by the late Chip Reese.
Well, the horse event was a really cool event because it was the first time that, first of all, it was a $50,000 buy-in, which was really unusual. So you knew that you were going to get a lot of great players in the event. And it was really interesting to see what was going to happen because so many people play just Hold'em. And they had 140 or 50 people that entered this, and I was curious to see, how many could really play all those different games. And it was really well done event because it's a test to be able to switch every 8 hands or however many it was that you can have to play each and every time a different game. The final table was a really stacked table. In fact, they said it was the toughest no-limit Hold'em final table in the history of the World Series. I expected it to be a tough table because I didn't know how many great Hold'em players would be at the final table, but I knew there'd be a lot of great poker players at the final table because there's just too much skill having to play all these games for people to get too lucky to be able to come through and get there. So I knew there was going to be a lot of familiar faces when we got there. It was nice to win the bracelet. I mean, the money was nice. It was $1.7 million, which was a big prize. I got a lot of bragging rights. I've won some awards over the years from Card Player and other things saying I'm the best all-around player in the world, and I don't play in that many tournaments and haven't won that many no-limit Hold'em tournaments, and so to win one sort of gave it credibility for some of the awards that my peers have given me over the years. I think I gave this advice at the Card Player Awards when I won the best all-around players that people need to learn to play all the games and to be good poker players because every single game has different facets of card playing skill that are required. And the one thing that is great about Horse is several of the games, there's Raz, Stud, and Stud 8 or better. And those are all 7-card stud games. And you have to make a lot of decisions in those games. Hold'em's a game where you get 2 cards, you get a flop, which everybody plays the same cards, and there's a couple bets. And there's only a finite number of possibilities about what somebody can have. But in the stud games, you get your cards, 2 down, 4 up, and 1 down, and your opponent gets the same thing. So you have to be able to read every single card. You have time in a hand to set certain things up based upon what cards you catch, and you can get a lot of information from your opponents, and it makes it a very skillful game. I took an economics course once on risk, and one thing I remember from the course is that in business, risk is a sequential decision-making process. In no-limit Hold'em, you don't really have that. You have to guess for all your money, and it's one all-in pot. But in the horse games, in some of the horse games, there's so many decisions that have to be made that you can actually throw your hand away with a good hand. You can get away from a big hand if you're right. You can make a value bet, and there's a lot of ways to gain extra edges by throwing your hand away as well as by betting and raising, and it just increases the skill factor. And I'd encourage all people to learn to play 7-card stud high, which I think is the most skillful and complicated poker game there is. 7-card stud Raz, which is like high, only the low hand wins. 7 stud 8 or better, which is like both those games, only you split the pot. They're all great poker games. Maybe it's the best poker games that there are. And then, of course, you've got Hold'em, Limit Hold'em, which a lot of people know how to play, and Omaha 8 or better, which is an interesting game too. But all these games have different skill aspects to them that if you're really going to be a complete poker player, you got to learn to play them all.
Last year, the tournament grew to 148 players, and that made first place prize worth $2.27 million. That was taken down by Freddy Deeb. Well, was there a turning point in the tournament for you when things really started to go your way?
When they started to go my way, yeah, sure. When we're down to like 7 players, and I had 300,000 in chips, and I think we were playing like 100, 200,000. Okay. I didn't even have 2 bets.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
So you were down that low, and then what hand did you catch there?
Was Omaha high-low. It was funny, I made a statement. I said, I'm going to do, here we're going to do Freddy Deeb style. Take 300,000 and win 15 million in chips. There's 15 million in chips.
And you did.
And as soon as I made that statement, I was sitting there for a long time not catching a hand. I tripled up on an Omaha high-low hand, and the game changed to Raz. And then I tripled up again. And I went from 300 to 3 million in 2 hands.
Wow. So from then you were just
So
on a
that
roll.
was, yeah, I guess that was a good moment.
Definitely made you feel more confident having some chips in front of you.
Make you feel more relaxed.
Right.
You know, you're confident. If you're not confident, I mean, the chips ain't gonna do anything to you. But
I guess that makes sense.
you can just relax more. You know.
Right. You're not obligated to play hands that you might be with the blinds going up.
Right. You can just relax. You know.
So
Wait for a good hand.
Right. So out of those 5 games, which is your best, if you had to rate them, or can you rate them all?
Which? I don't mind. I play them all. I mean, I think Raz is the worst, to be honest.
Raz is everybody's worst game.
It's not like everybody's worst game. Raz is. It's the only poker game where you hardly can bluff. And any game where you really hardly can bluff, it's not one of my favorite games. So Raz is one of them.
Is there much strategy to Raz? Is there like a specific approach you should take to the
Play
game?
the best hand just like any other game. It's
Right.
the same strategy. When you play poker, all the games have the same strategy.
I guess that's true. Play the hand.
Start
that
with good,
wins.
starting hands and lay them down when you think they're not good anymore, even though they were good a card or two ago. So you just have to make that decision as you go along and play the hand, or as you can see what's happening. You know, that's why I like stud. Stud is a good game because you can always see what possibilities is out there or what could they have or not have.
Okay.
And you don't have to put in a lot of bets to find out what hand they're going for. With limit hold'em also, you have to put a lot of bets in sometimes to really know if they have a hand or not without having one.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're all, basically, you gotta wait for, there is certain good starting hands that you're supposed to play in these games, and that's what you do. You play them and hope to get lucky. And
that's all you can do.
in the long run, if you keep doing that, you will get lucky. I mean, you might get unlucky for a while or some days, but eventually you will get lucky and get the money.
The H.O.R.S.E event is a 5-day tournament, and that means that it will conclude on Sunday. For full coverage of the event, you can rely on cardplayer.com. I'm Lizzie Harrison for Card Player TV.